There's moments in your life where you look at someone you love and you think, what'll happen when they're not here? And sometimes that thought can stick around. So this episode, it's not just a podcast. This is more like a quiet conversation between us, a safe, private space where I can talk openly about this particular topic. And it's something that a lot of men carry, but they very rarely speak about it. They bottle it up and they hold it in, and they find it, embarrassing to talk about. So this is for men that are dealing with something very real, the fear of losing someone you love, or maybe you've already lost somebody and you're in the middle of that loss and you're grieving and you're just finding it hard to cope and just get on with your day. And you're thinking, how am I going to struggle on with this? Like, this is, I don't even want to get up out of bed. I just don't want to face the day, but you do it because you feel like you have to, and you're doing it under duress. So maybe it's a parent that's unwell. I don't know. This is around the same topic, and a lot of men struggle with this particular issue. Maybe it's someone close to you that's already passed, or maybe it's that silent fear that creeps in. You're next. Like, what's going to happen if something happens to me? If you're listening and you're thinking, I've never said it out loud, but I often feel like I think about this stuff. I think about it a lot, or it crosses my mind every now and again, and it kind of cripples me. This episode is for you. And I'm not here to tell you to start to think positive or just, move on. You hear people saying that, it's just the way it is, just move on. That's not what this is about. This is about acknowledging what you feel without drowning in it. It's about understanding that pain is human. You've heard the saying before, it's just normal. But that shouldn't mean that you have to suffer all of the time, that you have to be going around thinking about this and feeling that heaviness and that sense of what's the point in the whole thing. And toward the end of this episode, I've got something that I want to share with you. It's something very simple, but sometimes the simple things are the most effective. It will be a small printable reminder for your wallet that you can put into your wallet. You can just print it off, stick it in your wallet, and it'll have 3 powerful lines on it that you can say to someone you love, or even someone that you've lost. Because sometimes, there's words that were unspoken. And in most cases, because I know how to help people to transform how they feel about this, sometimes it just needs to be said. And even if the person's not here, it just needs to be processed. And I'm just going to give you something that will help you to start that process moving. It's free. I'll tell you exactly how you're going to get it. It's not going to be complicated. There's going to be a link in the description or something here that you can just click and download it. And I did it because sometimes you just need a moment and a little reminder, someone to say, look, get your fucking finger out and here's what you need to do. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You need to start to think about this. Do this. Sometimes you just need that. Sometimes you just need someone just to listen to you. I hope this episode gives you something that you can take away from this that's going to help you to not suffer and be able to live a little bit of your life without suffering. It's just a little reminder to say the things that you've probably been holding back, especially for men. Find it hard to talk about this stuff. It's going to be something simple that you can actually start to apply, and I'm going to tell you why and how you should do it. So let's start here. Most men don't talk about this stuff. We're trained not to. You'll hear lads going, sure, look, it'll be grand. We just carry on. But quietly, that fear starts to build up inside. The fear of your dad getting old. The fear of your mum's health fading. Those were big things for me. The fear of your best mate getting sick, and the fear of saying goodbye to someone that you love. And this stuff goes on in your mind. It's whirls around in your mind and it stirs up feelings, and you're trying not to think about it, but it's like the more you fight it, the more it just keeps kind of fighting back. Or worse, the fear that you never said what you needed to say to someone that's already gone. So for some of you, it's already happened. You've lost somebody, or you're walking around trying to function like nothing's wrong. You should get on with it and it's fresh in your mind, but still inside you feel stuck, you feel lost, or like the grief is sitting there in the background and it's chewing away at you. And you've probably heard the saying, people saying to you, that's normal. So, but it doesn't make it any better. I've been told it's normal. You don't know what to say when someone's going through this. It's a very difficult subject. That's why I'm covering it here. I think I have a really good position on this to be able to talk about this and be helpful, not just give you advice, or not just like I'm speaking from experience here. People tell you it's normal. That's what makes you human. But a lot of the time, that doesn't stop the fear and the pain. It's nice to hear it. People are trying to help, and um, sometimes you feel guilty because it's normal and you should get on with it, but you find it difficult. I've spent a lot of time doing research on this particular topic, and I was reading real posts from real men online, like on Reddit and Quora, and all of the men's mental health forums. And when I was reading down through them, one guy said something like, he said, losing my dad, this kind of stuck with me, this one. He said, losing my dad was my biggest fear. And when it happened, it hurt just as much as I thought it would. That kind of stuck with me, that one. You know, another guy wrote, it's been a year and I still feel like I'm stewing in grief and loneliness. And everyone else seems to have moved on, but I haven't. And people just keep telling me to get on with it. And I'm telling them I'm okay, but I'm not okay. This is common, this stuff. And another man said, I never got to say thank you. And I don't think I'll ever stop regretting that. And he never said thank you to the person. That's why I went through all of this, and I found the biggest regrets, and I made something for you to just put in your pocket so that you can avoid those regrets. And even if someone has already passed, it still helps you to process it. Without telling anybody, without talking to a therapist, if that's not what you want to do. A lot of men don't want to do that. These men are out there. If you read the forums, you'll see that they're quietly talking about it with incognito titles on their page. So they get to talk about it privately because it's not something they like talking about openly. They don't want their family to see it because they might feel like it's a sign of weakness. So these men are out there. They're talking into the void. And the replies, dozens of people saying, I feel the same. I thought I was the only one. And you're not the only one. And you're not broken. Now, I don't speak about this from just outside, just doing research and coming up with a topic for a video. I've been through it. I lost my mother, my father, my two brothers, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my best mate, and a couple of my good friends, all very close to each other. It happened in a short period of time. But I stayed standing, not because I didn't feel the pain, but because I learned how to not get pulled down into that cesspit of sadness. I learned how to sit with the sadness and let the tears come if they needed to come, but not let it define the rest of my life. I had a choice. I'm here to share choices with you, that there is another way to do it, and I'm giving you the choices to say, here's the way you're feeling, and here's some other choices, and hopefully that you get to kind of take this on and have a better, peaceful life and live the life that you want to live, so you can leave, this world a little bit better than it was when you came into it, and leaving a positive essence instead of suffering. Okay, so this is what I hope to share with you with this from my experience, and I'm coming from authority on this, from both having gone through it in a big way, gone through the suffering, and a lot of my life, that fear of waiting for someone to die and thinking about what happened when they died, and even to the point where you're in your head imagining what it's like to be at their funeral and they haven't even left the room, So I've been through that. I lay awake at night time, and that was torture. And I'm on the other side of it, where I understand how to stop the suffering and still be ethical and compassionate and have those moments where you can just be and sit with it. So I feel like I've got something to share that's ethical, and it's something that you can apply without feeling guilty, like you're pretending nothing's happening. It's not that. It's bigger than that. Pain is a part of life, but suffering, that's when the pain starts to take over. So pain is normal, and it's okay to feel that because it reminds you that you had somebody good in your life. If you didn't feel the pain, how would you know you had somebody good in your life? So it's just there to remind you, but it's there for moments to give you some contrast. But when that pain starts to take over, that's when it starts to shape how you think about your life. It starts to shape how you live. And most importantly, it shapes how you remember everything. So it starts to color everything, and it starts to stain everything. It can color your memories, and not in a good way. It's a process. And I hopefully get you to the point where you're not coloring your life, all of it, with this horrible feeling of grief and suffering and thinking why. But ask yourself this question: why should I suffer? When you think about that question, what comes to mind if you ask yourself, why should I suffer? Now, maybe you're coming up with an answer. Maybe you're like, I don't know. I don't think I should. And you're just in that limbo. Whatever way you're feeling, just think about what the people, like, say that to yourself, what would the people I love want me to keep doing? Would they want me to keep suffering? Maybe the person's passed away or the person's in your life. What would they want for you? Would they want you to suffer? Would they be thinking, okay, he's expressing his love because he's suffering more than everybody else? Just think about that for a moment. What would they want from you? Whether they're still here, whether you're worried about them dying, or you've lost a father or a mother, would they want just to keep suffering? Would they want your days filled with dread and regret? So ask yourself, would they want my days filled with regret and guilt? Or would they want me to live, to carry the memory with lightness, not with heaviness? Would they want me to carry a memory of them with lightness and no heaviness? To smile when I think about them, and maybe smiling to the point where I've got a little twinkle in my eye. Is that what they'd want? I don't know. What comes to mind for you? People have different answers, and I'm here to challenge them so that we can do better things with our life. You know, if I get this message across to you and you can start to apply it the way I've applied it to my life, things can only get better instead of worse. We don't want them to get worse for anybody. Okay, so if I get the message across, then I've done a good job. And if you apply it to your life, then you've done a good job. Good job. So either way is good, right? We all win. So if you were to think about them with a smile on your face and a twinkle in your eye, that shift, that's what we're moving towards in this episode. It's just to start to think about this, just start to kind of ponder on me creating some possibilities. Do I have to suffer? Or would it be better for everybody if I just kind of moved on with my life and, you know, lived out the rest of my life, enjoying the living part instead of thinking about dying all the time? We're not going to rush it. And I know if you're still in the middle of it, it might feel too soon. You might be thinking, look, I've just lost someone like not so long ago. And I think it's too soon to move on. That's okay. Take your time. I'm not here to push you. I'm just here to kind of open the door. So here's something I made for you. I made a small card. They're simple words, but they carry a lot. And it's going to be printed off on something like this. This is kind of a little draft. I haven't got it totally finished just yet. Normally I do this part first and then I do this podcast. So if you're watching this on a video podcast, you'll see me. I'm hoping I'll probably put it up on the screen here. It'll be a little set of instructions of what it is. So it's kind of what this is about. Why bother? It's a little description of why bother. Because I know there's lads that will say that, why bother? How it works, sort of. When do you use it? And when you look at the little card on the back, it's going to be something that you can just print off and cut out. Okay. So it's quite simple, cheap. You can cut it out and you can, you know, stick it onto a card, sellotape it onto a card, or you can, if you're really into it, you can go on to the internet and get some business cards printed off with it on it. Either way is good. On the front foot it says, and I got these words from regrets. Okay, so I was thinking, how can we avoid regrets? Whether it's someone that's passed away and you're healing yourself and you want to say these things, or someone in your life now, I think this is a really cool thing to be able to say and to start to loosen up that stiffness that's in you that's holding you back from saying these things. And it says, don't let these words go unspoken. Share them with someone you love or someone that you hold in your heart. And below that, it says on the card, these are the things now that people wish they had said, you know, or they wish they could easily say to the people that's in their life, but they find get stuck here. So it says, I love you. Thank you for everything. You did a great job. And I'm sorry for all the times I could have been better. That's it. 3 sentences, but these are words men regret not saying. They're words that ease the weight, whether you say them out loud or you just say them in your own heart. You'll see people standing at, we're talking about this now, so you'll see people standing at graveyards and they're standing over the grave and they're talking to the person that's not here anymore. Look, you're gonna do it anyway. At some stage, you're gonna have some sort of conversation in your head. So this would be a better one to have because it's soothing and it's healing, and it's being received by something. It's being received by you and it's being processed and it's being moved. Sometimes if it gets stuck, that's where the suffering. But once you get it moving and you feel like you let it out, it's gonna help. I'm telling you, it's gonna help. You can print the card off or you can screenshot this if you're looking at it on a video, or if you're just listening on the podcast, you can click on the link of the podcast and get access to the download. Send me a message, whatever way you want. I'll get the PDF to you. You can stick it on the fridge when you print it off. There's a free PDF that I showed you that comes with it. It explains why bother, how to use it, and it's not complicated. Sometimes the simplest things can make the biggest difference, but it will begin to shift something big inside of you when you start to say it, because most men are just stuck and they just don't want to talk about it. And if they do talk about it to their mates, Asher will be grand, just go on, you should talk to somebody. Some people just don't want to talk to other people. That's just the way they're going to go through their life. Okay, I hope my podcasts are helping you if you're that type of guy that doesn't want to sit down and talk to a therapist or a counselor, or a mindset coach like me. Either way, it's not therapy. It's not a quick fix. It's a simple tool to help you to start living without regrets, to say the things you need to say, and sometimes you don't bother, either to the people that's around you or the ones that you carry in your heart, the people that you think about that are no longer with us anymore. And I want to go a little deeper on this with you, because I've seen this happen over and over. When someone you love is dying or they've already passed, and you start thinking about them with a sense of sadness or guilt, I really want you to think about this and get this across to you. This is like where men would go, why bother? I'm going to tell you why. This is important. And you can start it now. You're changing anyway, whether you're changing in a good way or a bad way, you're always changing. So you might as well start to change in a good way. When someone has passed or someone is still around and this is what got me to kind of think about this particular episode, and I wrote an article on it for Reddit. When I seen there was a man, he was sitting with his dad and his dad was dying, and he was just feeling this sense of helplessness, guilt and dread while his dad was in the hospital and waiting for test results. We all know how it goes. And if you're thinking about them with a sense of sadness or guilt or dread, that feeling begins to start to seep into the image of that person that you hold in your mind, whether they're still here or not. You start to associate their face with pain. But what if you thought of them with a smile on your face or just a little twinkle in your eye? Because that smile, that twinkle becomes the emotional filter which through you remember them. It shapes the way you see them. It shapes the memory of them. That feeling that you're thinking about while you're thinking about them, that feeling that you're holding in your body, it shapes the memory. It colors them. Is that something that would be good to do? Like to think about them and mold their memory into a sad feeling. That's why I'm very careful because I know how this stuff works, that when I'm feeling sad and I'm thinking about someone, the first thing that comes to my mind is in therapy they call it reconsolidation. It's a reconsolidation process. You're thinking about the person and feeling bad, and that bad feeling starts to color your old memories. Even if you're feeling bad and you go down memory lane and you bring that bad feeling with you, now you're in an old memory, crying, being upset, and you're bringing all that essence of that sadness into the memory. And then every time you think about the memory, upsets you. When you think about the person that's passed and is no longer here, you cry instead of feeling good, where that person was probably a great person, but now you're feeling bad when you're thinking about them. Is that what they want? Do you want to mold that memory into a sad feeling? I'm just giving you more choices here. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm not putting pressure on you. Just consider it and just think about it and let it sit in the background. Or would you like to mold that memory of them into a good feeling? If you believe, like I do, that those that are gone, they're still with us in some way. I do believe that. I hold on to that belief that they're still with us in some way. We just can't see them. If you believe that, then that smile on your face that you're creating, that lightness, that's how they'll feel if you remember them like this. That's how they will see you remembering them if they're around. That's how they'll look at you when you're thinking about them with that smile on your face and that like little sense of joy and gratitude. I'm not saying it's easy, especially if it's still fresh and you've just lost someone. Give yourself a bit of time. What I am saying is it's better to think this way for everybody in your life, not just you, not just for them if they're still here, whether you believe that or not, for everybody in your life. And then you begin to teach the people around you in your life how to practice seeing the ones that you love in a positive light. I'm talking the talk and walking the walk here. I'm not going around hoppy, skippy, and jumpy and doing hairy fairy stuff. I just know how to stop the suffering. And that's better for everybody. It's better for my family because they get to see it's possible that you can actually live out the rest of your life without feeling that dread and that suffering and grieving them all of the time. And it gives me the ability to be able to help other people. Like I'm doing these podcasts. If I was in a bad place and I was talking from wounds instead of scars. So you might hear people talking about how we suffer and how we're feeling bad and how we get up in the morning and we don't want to get up. I feel like I'm talking about scars instead of fresh wounds. You know, it's always better to help somebody when you're, you know, talking from scars instead of a fresh wound. Like if I was suffering here now and telling you not to suffer, you wouldn't be able to take me serious. So some of the people in your life are still alive and you're probably walking around worrying about them dying. Then you're rehearsing their death while they're still alive and still in the room and they haven't even left the room. And you're thinking about, oh my God, what if they die? You're practicing loss while life is still in the room. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel it or that to not cry or not worry or think about it. We're just creating more options because it is possible to think about them without that heaviness, whether they're in your life or not. Or you can think about them with a sense of warmth. And every time you think about them, whether they're here or whether they're gone, you get to choose the emotional tone of that memory. That memory that you're holding in your mind, the thought, the picture of that person. Would you want someone thinking about you like that, looking at you and feeling sad all of the time, and then connecting that sadness to that image of them? And whatever tone that you have, that tone that you have becomes the quality of your life. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just inviting you to try something different, to bring a little bit more kindness into the way you carry the people you love. The ones who are still here and the ones who have already gone, because this is a thought that goes through a lot of men's minds is, what if I die? What if somebody else dies? What if I lose them? What am I going to do? I'm getting older now. And they start to think about their mortality. That's why I'm talking about people, grieving people that are still alive, practicing dying instead of living. And this little tiny card, it's just a reminder that you can say these things to people that are still here and say these things to the people in your heart just to clear that stuckness, that heaviness. And the link will be in the description. You'll get the card, you'll get the PDF, you'll get the phrases, and a chance to make sure that you say the words that matter most, the words that go unspoken. Let that be your gift to them, and let that be the gift to yourself. So what now? What do we do now? Well, you keep going. You keep living. Not out of obligation, but because people you love, they want you to live a little bit. They want you to have your life. They don't want you being sad and going around with your head down and thinking about what you lost instead of what you gained. They want you thinking about what you gained from them. How the memory of them still lives in everything around you. Everything reminds you of them. That's what they want. That's what you would want for somebody else. If you had passed away and you want people to if you were asked how do you want people to think about you, I'd want them to think about me with a bit of warmth in their heart and a positive memory, and think that, I wasn't going around sad all the time. You carry your thoughts of your loved ones within you. You carry them everywhere you go. Do you want to carry them like a weight, or do you want to carry them like a light? Smile when you think about them. Remember the good things that happened. And they leave you with two beautiful gifts, the people that have passed. They leave you with a box of good memories, and they leave you with a box of bad memories. Whichever box you choose to look in all the time, that's on you. Do you choose to look in the box of all the good memories that they left and talk about them? Or do you choose to, sit down and suffer in the bad memories and think about the day that they died, the day they went to the hospital, why they did it, who was there, who wasn't there, what you could have done, what you shouldn't have done. And you think about all the bad things that happened, who said what, and you're caught in that box. Is that the one they want? If they were overseeing you, looking down and going, man, he's looking in the box of those bad memories again. That's not what I want for him. I want them to look in the box of good memories. I gave him good memories, good times, positive things. You have to think about these things and make the choice what's best for you. Maybe just allow yourself to start to feel a little bit more peace. It's just kind of starting to get a little bit of momentum on this. Not all at once, but gradually, steadily, or all at once. Either way is good. You can still stop and have moments where you go, you know what, I'm just feeling it today. I'm going to have a little cry. I'm going to get upset because I want to be with this. And I do that sometimes. But it doesn't suck me in and take me under that sadness and that dread and ruin my day and make me not good company. So this episode isn't about fixing grief. It's about making space for it, and maybe even making peace with it altogether, and having your moments where you can just be sad and then shake it off and move on with your day and get shit done. So if this episode landed with you, then go get the card, use it, print it off, keep it close, cut it out, get a bit of sellotape, stick it on an old business card, and you can do it that way, or stick it in your wallet, stick it on your fridge, keep it close, keep it personal, say it to someone, say the words while you can, or say them quietly to someone who's already passed. They're nice words to say. They'll clear a lot of air inside of you, a lot of that heaviness. It still matters when you say it like this. And if you want to go a little bit deeper and connect with other men who get it, there's a link to join the men's community too. Coming up with some really good stuff that's going to be very useful to help you to change how you feel about all this stuff in your life. And it's a very unique kind of approach that I'm working on at the moment, to be able to get you to resolve this stuff inside you without actually talking to someone. So join the men's community and be the first to get notified about this stuff that I'm working on, this course that I'm working on, bringing out. That's something that you can actually practically use in your life, that's enjoyable to use and watch, solution focused. It's very interactive, and it gives you something to do. All men want a mission. They want the mission. They want to be able to do it themselves. And when you're doing this yourself and changing how you feel yourself, that's when you'll feel like you've made it. It's not when someone else is, holding your hand and talking to you and making you realize what's wrong with you. It's when you're actually doing it yourself, changing how you feel like yourself, and you don't need me or anybody else. That's when you'll feel like you've made it. So if you got some value from this podcast, then check out all of my other podcasts for more solution-focused insight. They're all solution-focused, and they're all on topics that matter for men over 40, or men in general. It's not just for men over 40, but most of my clients are men over 40. I work with all men. Thanks for being here. I'm Paul Campbell, and I'll see you in the next one.